All right, the parts that we need for this step are D8, D1, C19, a large polycap, C18, and C10. Good cold evening, everybody. It is on its way to 12 degrees here in Nashville, Tennessee. So what better time to sit in a garage with a space heater and work on step number 8. So yeah, we get to work on the chain and what I believe is the swing arm that will hold everything to everything. So we have a lot of pieces to grab. We need D8, D1, C19, C18, C10, and that should do it. So painting wise, we get to mix another combination of colors with LP19 and LP70. So that'll be for both sides of the chain, and then we'll pick out these little center parts by hand. And then we need LP72 and LP3 and more semi-gloss black like we did with the frame. So that swing arm has some interesting colors and masking that we get to do also. So I am going to go grab some pieces and start cutting and cleaning. So the first one we need is off of the D sprue, which is the chains, which that's pretty easy to find. It's right there. So we're just gonna do that. We are going to you, and that way I just have a small piece to work with. So we're gonna go in here. We're gonna do careful cutting. Nice and slow so that we don't make a mistake. Like I said in the earlier video, this is the first time I can recall Tamiya chain being 2 pieces. Usually it's 1, and it just takes a lot of careful painting to create a pretty realistic chain effect. Very bendy and squirrely. We got those cut out. Now, before I start painting this, and every time I mention an older Tamiya chain that was basically 1 piece, I have an example of one that I've worked on for the last year or so. It's a Repsol Honda, but all of this chain here is all just paint, careful painting. And you can see where you look straight down on it. There's not a whole lot of definition, and a lot of people will take the time and drill out these sections, or now they have resin chains that have the holes already there and it looks like a real chain. So I think what Tamiya probably did was trying to offer more detail as they continue evolving in their assembly process and everything. That's all just paint, regular kit chain. So, and then I also have another example of, again, what you can just do with careful painting, because this is all just kit stock, box stock basically. And if you take your time, just really work on the details, you can actually get a really realistic effect just by using what comes in the kit. So I'm anxious to see how much more definition it's going to look like with two-piece chain, because I think when you glue it together, there's the links. So when you glue it together, it's actually going to have just looks more like, it just looks so much better. You can actually see so much more definition. So pretty excited about that, because I tried to build the all metal ones. The Tamiya kit for the Honda RC 166 came out really well. But it took a while and it was all metal. But I've tried some of the top studios and I've seen people actually do them and they come out absolutely incredible. I have not had much success with the top studios yet, but I don't blame that on Top Studio. I blame that on me and my inequities. So I'm going to clean up the little sprue points on here. Make sure it's all smooth and I haven't missed anything. Really flimsy. Well, you know, not flimsy as in bad, just very fragile. So I don't want to put too much pressure and break the actual piece. Just put a new blade in, so that sanding stick was putting a little bit too much pressure. Detail is just crazy good. And now I'm debating on whether to paint them separate and glue them together. My gosh, that's just crazy good. Crazy good looking chain. Pretty excited about that. Now when you look, talks about painting the chain, the mixture of those two colors, which LP19 and LP70. LP19 is gunmetal, which is kind of a darker gray. And then LP70 is a gloss aluminum. So we'll get those paints going here, but I want to cut out all the other parts first. So let's go ahead and grab parts C19 and C18 first. It's the B sprue. And here is the C sprue. And we have 19 and 18. All right. LP3. Flat black. Boy, we've got a lot of different mixture of colors again. All right. We're going to need in that screw bag where we have all the different offsetting parts, we're going to need to get a larger polycap this time. 619, or I'm sorry, C19, C18, those are cut and cleaned, and so C10 is all we need to do. All right, so we get to do another exciting airbrushing. So I'm going to get some paints and mix them up and see what we got. Be right back. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is glue these parts together so that way they're easier to paint. And that way assembly and painting will all take place now. So we're going to get the chain. I just can't get over how nice this chain is. All right, that part's done. Now we need to get that poly cap that I mentioned. And there seems to be only one large one in this bag. The rest were just small ones still to be used in the later step. So that polycap indicates that it's going down into the frame. Like this. And this piece is going to go right on top, and boom, form the swing arm. So need some detail painting on this thing, that's for sure. Lots of detail painting, lots of different colors. I think if I counted right, I think there's 5 or 6 different colors that will be on this piece alone. All right, we will let that dry. And then our last piece here will go on after we paint everything. We'll still paint it now because it's LP5 like the frame color here. So we'll go ahead and paint it now with this after I fix, you can see that little seam right there. I've got some glue drying in there, and then we're going to sand it down and see if I actually have to fill that with anything. But right now we're just going to see if the glue will help melt the plastic, and maybe that'll create a filler. But we'll let that set up, and then we'll sand that down, and we will see. Hopefully we can get rid of that seam. This seam's not bad, but depending on where it is on the bike, we'll have to see. So, pretty excited. All right, be back in a little bit. All right, I'm going to make a decision on the chain. It says to mix 2 different colors of LP paints, but some of my favorite metallizers to actually use are Extreme Metals by AK. I absolutely love these paints because they don't require a primer or black basing or really anything. You can paint them on just plain plastic and you really get a good metal effect. So I'm going to use dark aluminum and shoot the chain, and then we can start detailing some of the other parts. So wish me luck. Welcome back, everyone. All right, we are going to try to paint this chain, and I don't want any brush strokes, so I'm going to go ahead and mask it and shoot this part here, which the directions say to do it LP40, which is a metallic black. So I'm going to go ahead and mask this chain part up, and I'm going to use some Tamiya flexible tape. That way it kind of goes around some curves easier. Because what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be too precise in doing the masking, because I can go in around the edges and float paint into the edges down in here after I paint. If I miss any of these, I can just go in there and kind of flow some paint in there. But I'm just gonna go ahead and mask around the chain links so we don't get paint on those. And the good thing about the Tamiya flexible tape is it is flexible. So you can go around corners and it bends. just kind of follow the shape of the chain, pressing down. And voila, we'll have that. So that way when I paint all that, I'll only have to go into little sections up here to get where I may have missed because of the tape. So I'm going to do the other side. And I'm also going to go down to the back sprocket here and mask it as well. Well, not mask it, but mask around, because that has to be shot LP72, which is a mica silver. So 2 different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and mask that, and I'll be back in a minute. All right, I have both sides masked up. So I'm going to shoot that. I decided not to do the back. I can hand brush that pretty easy. It's such a small area. And the flexible tape was having a tough time making that tiny corner. So I'm going to go ahead and airbrush that sprocket and get back, and then we'll touch up and hand brush the back sprocket. All right, got that part masked and painted. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this back sprocket. I'm just going to go ahead and paint that by hand. It's not a big, huge difference in the color between the chain and the sprocket, but I think after we get a little wash in there, it'll help. And I think what I'm going to do is also, even though the directions don't call for it, I'm going to grab a little bit of titanium gold and grab that center area right in here and see if that doesn't help it as well. So I'll be back. All right, I went and grabbed just a LP 71 champagne gold. It's just a little bit of gold to add, just a little bit extra to it before I start doing a wash. There we go. So clean those up and see what else we have to do, because we have to do some detail painting on this little part here. LP72, LP72, LP72. So a lot of detail painting plus LP3. So we'll get to painting. Got some areas on here that have to be LP3. A little strip here, a little strip there, inside here, just little areas all over the place. So LP3 is flat black. So I'm going to try to mask as much of that as I can. All right, I think it's ready for some flat black, which I'm going to shoot it not flat black, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Vallejo Air NATO Gray. I like the look of this versus flat black sometimes. So I'm going to go shoot this one part and then get ready for another. All right. I actually like the way it turned out. A little bit of differential between the semi-gloss black and the NATO black, flat black look. So I'm going to go ahead and find all the areas I have to mask up and get those going. Be back in a minute. All right, still continuing on painting. I got all of the LP72 painted according to the directions. Have a little bit of touch up to do with LP5, but before I do that, this little upper section calls for, right in here, calls for X31, which is a Tamiya acrylic color, and it is titanium gold. So I am going to grab the LP version, LP62 titanium gold, and I'm going to go ahead and paint that before I do the LP5. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand brush it because it's just a small outside ring of it. So I want to look closely and make sure I'm painting correctly. Paint the outer ring. Keep my hand steady. And then once all this dries, I'm going to put like a nice wash on it, which will help all of these pieces kind of pop a little bit. And I know it probably doesn't need it, but I'm just going to run a little bit on the inside. All right, time to do a little wash on some of these parts, since we're going to be trying to bring out some of the definition. That's pretty good. We got a little wash on that, which helps break out the parts. So we will now do a little bit on the chain. Kind of flows around each little link. Just gives a little bit of darkness, helping to create the illusion of more depth. I'm actually touching each, well, trying to touch each little chain pins. I think what I'll do after this dries is I'll probably teach each pin with a chrome pin or chrome paint, and that'll help. Oops, well, too much on that one. You can kind of tell the difference when you, well, I haven't been on screen. You can tell the difference when you look at that side versus that side. Kind of see the details. So it's all about just, again, using paint and washes to create more depth and realism. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I will show you the results. All right, we have the chain, which I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And we have the swing arm, which I'm really happy how it turned out. So now we get to put it all together by attaching it. So it'll just be a matter of slipping the chain over the swing arm and then attaching the small back piece here that we still have to tinker with. So I'm gonna go get that piece and get it ready to assemble. Okay, so we're gonna put the chain on. Let's see. So we have to take this, get my head out of the way, and we have to have it like this, and then the chain has a break in it right here, right there. So that goes to the front, or to the top. So it's going to go right through this hole here. And we want the chain, the part of the chain, to be I have this pin right here out. So basically, you're going to put this in here, slip this over that sprocket. Sometimes you wonder even, why did I spend so much time painting all that detail when it's going to be covered like that? Easy peasy. So that goes on there. and it'll be attached to the frame. Now, it also has this little small piece that we cut out and painted, which is C10 right here. And that goes, and it's actually, it kind of looks like a chain guard. So it kind of goes, it's so crazy how, there we go. It has a little notch, and it'll just sit right down and into that notch down here. So what we could do is we could grab a little bit of glue. Since we have it in place, just put a little bit of glue in there. Then we'll go in the notch. And then we'll just push that down in place and hold it. And that way it's all done. And that is step 8 complete. We have the swing arm, the chain guard, and it is ready to mount to the frame, I believe, in step number, oh, nope, step 9, we do the tires and the rear wheel and hub and brakes. And then in step 10, we'll mount the wheel to that swing arm and brake line and much more stuff with the brakes before we actually mount the entire assembly to the frame. So, but sometimes you just like to look and see kind of what it's going to look like. So you cheat and you put it just to see what it'll look like. Well, at least I do. I like to do that. Yeah, maybe we better wait. So those will line up, and then that sprocket will line up with that section there. And then we will have, I just slid that into place just to see what it would look like. Kind of liking it so far. I'm liking all the colors and how everything's working with each other. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate the subscriptions, appreciate the comments. Go ahead and like and subscribe or share it with anybody, and you'll get notifications when a new video posts. All right, have a great day. We'll see you for step 9.